I listen to the radio broadcast. We usually try to in the mornings. It works out pretty good. I was kind of frustrated when it went from 9 to 8 because it worked out. We'd get in our car and we'd listen to it on the way to church, and that was like perfect. But we got in, now we're in a different habit, and I try to make sure I got everything ready, and at 8 the radio's on, and we might be eating breakfast, or we may be kind of relaxing, getting ready for church, but we can listen to it, and I'm glad. But I listened to the radio broadcast this morning, and it was after I'd been up early preparing the lesson, and I had some concern, and I'm not really concerned, but I did for a moment there, because the lesson again is we're continuing on about Jesus as a man, and Brother Wayne spoke about some of the things that he went through in this life, and I want to reiterate that the world, much of the world doesn't even believe that there really was a Jesus. A lot of the world that believes there was a Jesus thinks he was just a man. He was created by God, and he was special. He was a special man. He was a special prophet. And I want you to know, we're talking about Jesus as a man, and the Bible, I think, is clear that that's how he came. But we know he was God. And there's, as I told one fellow in a particular religion, it's as plain as the back of my hand that Jesus is God. When you read the scriptures, when you put them all together, it's clear that Jesus is God. And so I don't want you to forget that when I'm talking it. It's trying to explain the Trinity, or try to explain that God always existed. How do you explain that? I can't explain how Jesus is man and Jesus is God, and how it was the same at the same time. But I'm saying that when John the Baptist was conceived, and when Jesus was conceived, Jesus was just like John the Baptist as far as this flesh is concerned. They weren't conceived in the same way, but Jesus came as a man. And so we're going to go to Luke first here, Luke chapter 3, verse 23. I'm going to use several scriptures here, and if you want to try to get to them when I get to them, that's fine. I don't have them marked, so I have to look them up as well. Or if you just want to write them down, or if you want to ask me after the service if there's a scripture you missed. It's just some things that I put together to show us that Jesus was like us as he walked on this earth. In Luke chapter 3, verse 23, now this was after his baptism, after John the Baptist baptized him. And it says in verse 23, and Jesus himself began to be about 30 years of age, being, as it was supposed, the son of Joseph, which was the son of Heli. And it goes on and gives a genealogy. Jesus, it says here, was about 30 years old. Now I want you to go to Genesis chapter 1, verse 31. Jesus chapter 1, verse 31. You may not have any trouble following me at all. Here we go. And God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. And the evening and the morning were the sixth day. He's talking about his creation, and he's talking about Adam and Eve. And I'm not saying at this time, I don't even think age was considered, but however they were, it was very good. And Jesus, at 30 here, was here for a purpose, and he was here, I'm going to say, very good for that purpose. That's how he was brought into this world. And each of us, God brought us into this world, and we each have a purpose. Every one of us. When he was 30,